having the relationships that I have had, and when I look at the geography of the 5th Senate District, I can go into every neighborhood and I can knock on somebody's door that I have known for years.
Everybody, welcome to this edition of The Den. I'm sitting here with Sam Oropeza, who's running for the Senate in the 5th Senate District. Went from being an MMA fighter to a real estate guru to now he's going to go help change the city of Philadelphia, hopefully, he's saying. Sam, welcome to The Den. I appreciate you being here. How's everything going, man?
Going great, man. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
So, first of all, introduce yourself to everyone and tell them why. You'd go run into politics. It always blows my mind for everyone, but I'm down.
Yeah. So, tell you a little bit about myself. Again, like you said, I was a former professional fighter. Got into real estate, but even before that, I'm the youngest of 6 kids. I was raised by a single mom. After I graduated from high school, I went to Williamson Trade School. I was graduated in the power plant program and worked in refineries. I worked in pharmaceutical sites. And then that's when I really got into my professional fighting career, had 18 professional fights, started a family, and realized at that point in my life it was time for a big change. And I made the transition into real estate, which was... thank goodness I fought, because, it really was a fight, changing careers at 30 years old and having a family now. And then got into the commercial real estate side and started to see what was happening in the city of Philadelphia with development. And I absolutely fell in love with developing, neighborhoods. And for the past 3 years, a little over 3 years actually, I've been exclusively in the Harrogate neighborhood, learning a lot about real estate, learning a lot about community and community development. And I would say my experiences there, mixed with moving my family into the city of Philadelphia, really are the reasons why I'm running, because I do believe in the city of Philadelphia. I believe we haven't even scratched the potential of the city. And when I look at every spot where I could be in and actually have a chance of winning and actually have a chance of advocating for real progress and real change, I think that the state Senate seat is the best one for me. And this is going to be a special election, so I don't have to get the petition signed. There was no primary. I was endorsed by the party, and it really was a great opportunity for me to having the aspirations that I had with a political career to get right into it.
Listen, you're good looking. You're articulate. Why? What makes you qualified to go be? I know you need no qualifications, right?
Yes.
I'm not trying to beat you up here.
No,
right?
I love
definitely
it.
not trying to do that, right? So stay across the table. So seriously, why? If someone's watching, why you? I know you're from Delaware County, so automatically I know you love the city. If you moved your son and daughter into the city from Delaware County, where you don't have to worry about 1/10 of the issues going on there. So tell me why you for state senate.
Yeah, and I'm really glad you asked me that question. And I think this is a question that should be asked, because people ask me what is my political experience, and it's as a politician, none. And I never want to be a politician. When we really look at when this country was being founded, our founding fathers, it wasn't like, hey, we want a job called politician. They wanted people from the community of the community to really be the people that were the elected officials. So what I feel is most important, like I said earlier in my, when you asked me about myself, being the youngest of 6 kids raised by a single mother, when I look at the issues in Philadelphia right now, I believe there is a real issue with fatherlessness in the city of Philadelphia. And growing up in an environment without my father, I feel I have the empathy and the understanding to really work with kids and to speak to kids and to really advocate for change for them, because they're not going to be the ones voting. They're not going to be the ones raising the money to support my campaign, but we're losing a whole generation of children to violence in the city right now. The other thing is this. So I've worked in the trade, so I know what it's like to break my back doing hard work. I've changed my careers to run my own business, which I absolutely love. And what's the key to being a successful businessman? I think you'll understand this, Lance, is number one, I think it's relationships. Are you able to build good relationships with good people, and really to understand that the race that we're running it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. So again, growing up without my dad, I was a hothead growing up. I was like most fatherless boys are. You're overly emotional and have a chip on your shoulder. And as I grew older, and thank goodness for my fighting career, was able to really understand that this is a long race and you have to make friends with as many people as possible, and you don't want to burn bridges. And being able to control my emotions and handle myself, and to really, being put in tough situations, taking away the emotional side of it, you're actually able to think through these problems. And having lived these problems, I feel I'm a great person to be the one who's going to be in Harrisburg fighting for the neighborhoods.
So let's talk about a few things. You said something about not having a father.
Yeah.
I didn't have a father. You didn't have a father. The city of Philadelphia, as you know, I grew up in Deconey, grew up in Bucks County. So I grew up in two places, very fortunate, right? The city has changed.
Yes.
I had Krasner on the show. I mean, you name a politician from Philadelphia, they've been on this show, right? And everyone knows, I think the prison system and the whole entire system should be blown up. And people are like, Lance, oh my God, you're a left winger. No. I don't believe little boys should be going to places like Glen Mills and Camp 2 and these places for a fist fight the first time or a second time. And there's so many other programs you could put people in. What's your opinions on that? Do you think kids should be getting shipped away left and right to all these private schools? Because they're private schools. Mm-hmm. People are making money. They're businesses. Well, I'm just curious what your opinion is, Sam.
So the way I look at it is this. I believe, and again, when I say what I'm about to say, just let me explain it. Mm-hmm. Punishment is part of the rehabilitation process, but also it should be a proper punishment. And what I see being a big issue is similar to what you said. We don't want to throw people into the system to turn them into hardened criminals, but also at the same time, we don't want to allow violent offenders and repeat offenders to now be the role models for these young kids, because we have soft on crime policies. So,
well, they're two different distinct things, right? Adults are adults, right?
Yes.
My views on adult prison systems is very different than juveniles.
Yes.
I believe no kid is born racist. I believe no kid is born to be a maniac. I believe no kid is born. I mean, I'm sure some people say, well, some people have mental issues, but I'm saying the majority.
Yes. People
are born with a clean canvas. You start hanging out with lions, you will become a lion.
Yeah, for sure.
And it actually costs more to incarcerate a kid than it does to send that kid to private school.
Yeah.
It costs more to incarcerate an adult in prison than it does to send an adult to college, for community college or Temple. Think about those stats. It costs more for me to put a kid in Glen Mills a year, which is closed down, or Camp 2, than it does to send my kid to Father Judge.
Yeah.
All right. That's a problem.
Yeah. And look, it starts at home. It really does. I think a lot of the problems, when I talk to people, and again, I'm an advocate for school choice, and I talk to kids that went to a Philadelphia public school and also went to a charter school in the city of Philadelphia, and you really find out what the problems are, and it comes down to there are problem kids, and when you look at the home life, it's the home life. And I can't go and put fathers in the homes. I can't. None of us can, right?
Nope.
But what we can do is, again, this is why I love the martial arts. It took me and it gave me discipline. It taught me goal setting. And the most important thing it taught me was emotional control. So you look at the problems in the city of Philadelphia, right? People riding dirt bikes, wheelies down Aramingo Ave, through red lights.
We just talked about this.
Yeah, so when you see that, whenever I see that, it's like, yeah, I mean, when you are a fatherless child, you have no sense of really what's dangerous to you. You know what I mean? You're a thrill seeker at that point. And that is something that the lack of discipline that we see, it needs to be reintroduced, but also, too, there needs to be a real sense of community brought back to the city of Philadelphia. And that is the most important thing to me. Like I was saying with real estate development, I'm learning real estate development, on the ground floor, but none of it's going to work until you build a stronger community. And look, back when I was younger, there was boxing gyms, there were PAL, police athletic
Absolutely.
leagues, there were rec centers, and I don't see them anymore in Philadelphia. I don't see more outlets for children. And also, too, the arts are super important. And a lot of kids, maybe they want to go to a computer lab, but we need more funding. And I'm tired of seeing Philadelphia get passed up in the budget every year for our children.
You said something about like arts and rec centers. I agree with you. They got to open them for children. Because I truly believe, like you said, you can't put a parent or dad in every home.
Yeah.
And even, I'm not blaming all on dads because there's bad moms out there, right? So but you are right. When you don't have a father, I'm one of 14 kids, no father, 9 boys. It became a very violent.
Oh, yeah.
And, you said something about thrill seeker. I hate to stick up for these kids. I don't think they're looking for thrills. I think they're looking for a sense of community, a sense of just belonging. Like it's almost like I've always said to people, why people join cults and other things is they're lonely. They don't have a home life. No one cares about them. It's a terrible situation. But, Larry Krasner was on this show, and I actually agreed with him on this. I know people hate Larry Krasner, and, listen, I'm neutral in all this. You know that. Yeah. He said, we have to get back into the community. We have to build relationships in the community. We got to have, there's rec centers where kids feel safe. There's labs. But yet, it seems like no one's moving the needle to get these things back open, or I'm just missing it.
Yeah, again, I'm not an elected official at the moment, and it's like I want to see where this money is going because Philadelphia is the second highest tax city in the country. The resources are here. To me, as an outsider looking in, it looks like the system is broken. I can't think of any.
Stevie Wonder could see that, Sam.
Clearly. And it's another motivation behind running too. And exactly what you were saying, because for me, to go back to your point, it really wasn't a thrill that I was seeking with fighting. It was something where I would get so emotionally charged up where that could keep me in the moment and actually be an outlet to, you know what I mean? Like I couldn't sleep. I would start to sweat. I would, you know what I mean? Like I needed something. And I do agree with what you're saying. And to people, it looks like a thrill that you're seeking. The issue that I see, though, is fortunately for me going to an MMA gym, I was around, like you brought up, Rick and Phil Miglaris.
Great people.
I was around great people like Rick and Phil, and I wasn't around people that were encouraging, bad behavior. Yes. So, again, sticking up for the kids, but at the same time, too, this is why we need more positive male role models, big, strong men to really get children to listen and to pay attention. And we need to pay them. It needs to. I wanted to be a coach, right? Like I loved coaching wrestling. I coached 2 young fighters for years too, who are stand-up gentlemen. That I absolutely loved it. But it's like, hey man, this isn't. If I want to support my family, this isn't really a career that I can get into.
No doubt.
To pay the bills, you understand? So we need to make that a real position, a real job for a community member.
Here's a question for you, because I agree with you on the children crime. The adult crime in Philadelphia, I just told you, I went down with my wife about a month ago.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say where I went, but I went to the city. And because one of my friends runs the one place.
Yeah.
So, and it just wasn't the same as before COVID. Yeah. It seems a lot more, maybe I was just more on edge. Maybe my wife was more on edge. It could have been us, right? But it just seemed like it was dead. 12th and Walnut, we went to this one place that was supposed to be hot on a Thursday night, a good time. Us and 7 other people in the whole entire place. Now no one was 50, so I mean,
I know what you mean.
But it seemed like the city changed, and it seems like more people are on edge. And there's a lot more violence and a lot more. How do I use the word? Like you might not have the same quality of life prior to COVID. Is that a shift you're seeing? Is that not what you're seeing, or is it just me from the outside? I live in the suburbs now, and I became really, really soft. And
no, since the start of COVID, I watched the city become more and dangerous. I've watched my quality of life go down. I've watched exactly what you are describing, and we're losing our tax base. I mean, I work in real estate. I've sold a lot of properties outside of the city. People couldn't wait to leave the city limits. People were thrilled to find out. Offering $50,000 more than asking price for a home in New Jersey to get out of the city, and I didn't want them to leave, but at the same time, I don't blame them, because when you wake up and you look at your Ring doorbell and you watch the shooting happen in front of your house, that's going to change the way you think. That's going to. Hey, this is a really bad idea, and people were spending a lot of money for these houses that they're living in. These are with the 10-year tax abatement, beautiful properties, and they couldn't wait to get out of the city. So, yeah, I'm seeing the same thing you're seeing. I'm seeing more vacancies, especially in the central business district. It should be booming. This is the place where people want to be. This is the place where you want to open your business. And these are big companies leaving. And when you looked at the riots over the summer, 2 summers ago, what broke my heart is everything going to be the dollar store in Philadelphia now? I mean, are all the big retailers going to leave? And when they leave, they're taking jobs with them.
Of course.
So, a big priority to me is making Philadelphia a more friendly place to do business at, wanting to attract more business, wanting to attract businesses that are going to offer higher paying jobs. But, where we're at right now, it's not friendly to business, and it's going to lead to the vacancies. It's going to lead to an awkward feeling when you're out in the city, and I feel the same way. I mean, it used to be like shoulder to shoulder, and I think the coronavirus too, or COVID, it kind of took away the human interaction, and it was one of the driving forces why I started my nonprofit called Rescue, where we focus in on cleaning up the dump sites, because I've just been seeing more and more trash just dumped on our streets by whoever, and the shelter in place policy that they had, I think, was a terrible idea. Socially have social distance, but get out of your house, you know what I mean? And it destroyed that sense of community, and I want that sense of community to come back.
How does it, it's funny, I was just eating dinner about a week or 2 ago, and I didn't realize that the mandate came down that everyone had to be vaccinated that worked in all these restaurants and bars by, it was like February 2nd, but on February 17th, they lifted it. So literally 2 weeks after it was the final deadline, people quit their jobs, people got fired, they reversed it. To me, that's the definition of insanity, and every leader making those decisions should be fired, no matter what. Because nothing can change in a 2-week period of time for that type of significance to happen. Make sense? So you mandated this. All these restaurants lost employees. They can't get people back. And I'm sorry if this offends any leader in Philadelphia. It is just a fact, right? 2 weeks later, you reverse decision, such a major decision. This isn't a small decision. This is impacting business owners saying, do I go with the mandate? Do I not go with the mandate? I told you what I did. I shut all my businesses down. Yeah. I don't have one business left in Philadelphia. Yeah. Not one. I said, F this, I'm out.
Yeah.
What do you say to business owners with that type of, what would you do? What would you be saying to these leaders? Because that's crazy. If I did that here, my employees would walk out the door. They'd be like, I don't trust this guy's thought process.
This is the thing that I can't stand about Philadelphia is the political games. Exactly what you just said. None of this makes sense. None of it makes sense to me. And we are being told this over and over again, and then, like you said, they pull it right out from underneath you. And the thing that I can't stand, to go back to community, is they made it so polarizing where you had to pick a side, and it just got uglier and uglier. So, what I would say to any business owner, because my industry got shut down for 3 months, the government's not allowed to tell you what risk you're allowed to take every day. And that's important to me. I work in Kensington. It's dangerous there. It really is. And I take a risk every day just by showing up to work and walking up and down Kensington Avenue, which I do on a daily basis. Yeah, I mean, look at the risk I take, look at the risk you take, and now they're deciding who you can do business with as well, too. It made no sense, and then taking it away, it's all political games.
It is. Here's a question for you, and say that's a political game. Anyone that tells you different just has their head in the sand. I'm not saying which side's right or wrong. It's just political games.
Yeah.
Here's a question for you. Schools. Schools have been on the decline in Philadelphia. People are fighting to get into these charter schools. You just see school violence getting worse and worse. What would you do to help these schools out? Because if you help there, it's going to help the community.
Yes. So again, I'm a big proponent of school choice. I just believe that.
So you think a kid in Philadelphia, if you live in Northeast, you should be able to go down to Masterson and automatically?
I believe they should have, if you're willing to do what it takes, whether it's getting the transportation there, and the school has the room and everything. Yeah, I believe a mother should, or especially being raised by a single parent, if a parent is trying to fight for their child's education, and the only alternative they have is to send their kid to a failing public school and a dangerous school, you can't learn in a dangerous environment. They should have the ability. And look, I don't think that takes away from the public schools. I'm not saying stop funding public schools. I would never say that. I don't believe one has to suffer for another one to work. I believe we can have both work, and there can be an option. If you want to send your kid to a public school in Philadelphia, there you go. You can go. But yeah, I believe we need to expand on funding for charter schools. I believe there needs to be more opportunities for kids to get an education, because you know this and I know this. I mean, for you to get out of your situation, I mean, I didn't go to college, but it really came down to my education, the level of education that I had. And going to Williamson Trade School was one of the best things for me, because I didn't learn what people are learning in colleges, but I learned a lot about the core values. I learned a lot about character, and having that instilled in me. I mean, you can take everything away from me, and I'll start from zero, and I'll build myself back up again.
Yeah. Let's talk about this. Jobs. Philadelphia they've been just building down there. How many cranes are in the city right now? 15, 20 cranes?
Wild, yeah. It's like a year waiting list, I think, to get a crane right now.
They're just building, right? Does it come crashing down? Why are they building so much if there's so many problems down there? Because all the building would say just the opposite of what everyone's complaining about.
Yeah.
Forgot to ask you that.
So, working in real estate, I'm obviously, when I say I'm pro-development, I'm pro-good development. Philadelphia does have a strong, our schools, our colleges, and our hospitals are our strongest employers right now. So we still have that strong base, and I hope that there's going to be a person willing to live in every one of those apartments and everything that they're building. To really answer your question the best way, I do believe we're going to have to change a lot of things too for it all to work. I don't think as it is right now, it's all going to work. Lance, this is why I'm running too. I want the city to come up. We have poverty underneath the L. You go to Chicago, you go to New York, there's no poverty underneath the L.
Let's talk about that. You do go to, I just came back from Chicago, actually.
Okay.
And I do. And I was right there along the river, walking around. You saw a homeless person here and there. There wasn't a ton. Now, it's a lot colder there than here. Believe it or not, it is. So
yeah, it is.
It is. But here you see tents and villages, and it's almost California-ish, right? Of some of the things you see out there, which I go to California a lot. Why don't we just open up more shelters and let these people go there? I'm just curious because they'll go to a shelter, and we have the budget that we could put people in shelters. Instead of putting them in prisons, we could build shelters.
So this is the conversation that I think it's very uncomfortable for people to have, because I believe what you're talking about comes down to our opioid and drug problem that we have here. And working in Kensington, I have a front row seat to it. You can't miss it.
No.
You don't need to be an investigator to find out who's doing what. I mean, you have to have a set of eyes and look out a window. You can't miss it.
Here's a true story. So my buddy Vince does a ton of work with me. Great guy, always helping me out. We go down there, look at these 3 properties in Kensington that were supposed to be great deals. My friend Loretta got them for us, right? So I go down with Vince. It's like 3 in the afternoon, broad daylight. We're underneath there, and it's just like drug addict, and like they're shooting. And I have brothers that died from OD'd, so like I'm an understanding man, right? But I also have 4 sons now, and I'm like, man, like I also have to think where I go, what I do, right?
Yeah.
Me and Vince get out of the car. We literally cross the street, and we don't even go into the 3 houses we're supposed to look at, and we just turned around, and you know. Vince has a permit to carry. He's a 6'4" monster. Yeah. And I'm like, we can't be like, you can't.
I'm not ready to get in a shootout over this to look at a house.
Not even a shootout. You just don't know if someone's going to jab you with you're so on edge of, because when people are that high, anything can go wrong.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, they're totally not in the right state of mind. It's scary. And allowing them to live on the streets is a terrible idea.
What would you do to change that? Because I think that would help build these communities and neighborhoods. Because kids seeing that every day, going to school and back, it ain't setting up goals for them, I can tell you that.
Yeah. So here's really, I mean, when I think about it, and again, redefining the role of a senator, I want to go into every treatment center, every rehab center, every halfway home, and see what's working, what's not working, what's effective, what's not effective. We need to expand on our mental health, because really this is the issue. We need more services for people that are going through mental hardships. I mean, if you want to say mentally ill, however you want to term this, but since the start of COVID, we've seen mental illness spike. So this is something that we can't ignore anymore. And then put on top of it, doing drugs. I mean, it's scary when you see the effects of these drugs. So finding out what treatment's working, what treatment's not working. And look, we have since 2015, there is a shortfall of 500 police officers. I mean, our police are basically told to stand down and allow this to happen. So it's not the police's fault. It's the leadership's fault. So going to trade school, I mean, why not? There's so many abandoned buildings in Kensington right now. Why not turn one into a rehab that can help people get into the trades?
I'm with you on that. I'll help fund that for you. Here's a question for you. I'm dead serious. You ever come? You win? And you want to do that? Come see me. I'll be the first one to write you your first check. Here's a question for you though. You brought up the police. I had it on here because I told you you're going to be on the hot seat here.
Yeah.
Are you pro-police or anti-police? In the environment we're in right now, I'm just curious.
Yeah. I'm 100% a supporter of the police. Always have been, always will be. I mean, my brother has been a cop for 26 years. And, you know, it's heartbreaking when you see the story of the 2 state troopers that got killed trying to get somebody who appeared to be mentally ill off 95 and then got hit by the person that they pulled over and then got called to go help this person. Look, our police are our first responders. My brother has delivered babies. He has resuscitated people. I've watched him pull someone out of the way in front of my eyes before a car accident happened.
Now, the opposite of that is people will say police abuse their power, they lie, they lock people up.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, everyone that watches this show knows I'm very pro-police.
Yeah.
But I think 2-3% of them that are bad. The problem is it's almost like the Catholic Church. You protect the bad priest, everything gets brought down. You got to get rid of the bad police.
Absolutely.
And I know it's harder than that because I've had McNesby on here. I didn't realize how difficult it is to fire the bad police. It's actually hard, and you even know.
Okay.
It's very hard. It really is. It's not like me. I can walk out and just terminate anyone. It's not Will State. They have unions. There's so much more fucking red tape to get someone fired. So 99% of the police are good, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I was just curious about your view because that's a hot topic right now still.
Yeah.
Being a cop. And I feel sorry for him because I ask people all the time, why would you want to be a cop in this day and age? Like, I'd quit my job. My son wanted to be a cop. And I'm like, you're crazy. You're not going to be a cop in this environment. Like, one thing wrong, you're toast.
It is, you are under a microscope right now. And you have probably the most high pressure job. I mean, the way I look at it is making hoagies at Wawa, right? At 12 o'clock when the lunch rush comes in. And it's like you are constantly under pressure, except now you have people's lives in your hands. So it is a very stressful job, and it's a job where I have the utmost respect for people who do it. Again, totally against anyone who's a bad police officer.
Yeah.
But we need more police officers. It is a great job.
How would you recruit police to the city? I mean, that's because they have a shortage. Nobody wants to be. You have dads like me out there saying no. I don't think you would tell your own son to be a cop. I mean, I don't know, but I just think logically you seem like, why would you throw your kid into a burning building where he makes one mistake, he's crucified for life?
Yeah.
I can make a mistake. You can make a mistake. Shit, politicians make 100 mistakes. No one's locking these people up.
Yeah. Yeah, so, look, again, I'll go back to community. I mean, it needs to be a stronger community. And the thing that I absolutely love about working in Kensington in the 24th District is the police officers are most likely from there. And you talk to them, they really understand what's going on. They know, they arrest the kid, right, who has the bundles of dope. They make the kid give the dope back to the dope dealer. They don't arrest the kid and take the dope because they know that kid's going to have to go face that dope dealer again. You know, and he's going to either have to pay for it or sell twice as much to make up for what he lost.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm the most pro-cop person in the world. I just don't, like, we thought somebody was in my house. A glass broke in my house probably 2 weeks ago. The police were there. The cop came in, put himself right in front of me in harm's way.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't even hesitate. Tells me to step back. I have a baseball in my hand. I said, I got to make sure you're okay too, champ. Like, yeah. I mean, like, God forbid someone does jump out on you. So, probably the first time someone said that to him. But, I mean, it's a very non-rewarding job unless you need them.
Yeah.
And that's the sad part.
It is.
And people just don't see the big picture. They're still human beings. They probably only go through 6 to 9 months to a year of full training. They're not robots. It's sad to see what the political system has done to the police officers. Where my son LJ, all he wants to do is be a cop. That's his dream. And he's 8 years old, and I got to tell him, like, hey man, well maybe you want to be a bit. Where 5 years ago we're buying cop uniforms to wear.
Yeah.
But I'm afraid my son will be a cop, 30 years old, make one mistake, and he's going to be on CNN getting crucified when it was a 30-second. Or probably in a second time to react to something dangerous.
Yeah. And even worse, I mean, you look at all the police officers, I mean, in the city of Philadelphia alone that have, died in the line of duty.
Oh, yeah. There's no respect for police officers anymore because it's just, I don't know what changed that, but it's probably bad parenting.
Yeah, and I mean, again, it all starts at home. It really does.
Here's a question for you. This is a marketing show. It's a small on the Final Roar. What would you do to change these neighborhoods? What type of marketing would you do? How would you get your message out there if you became a senator? I want to know what you would do because it seems like none of these politicians market after they get in to do the things they want to do. It seems like they just get up on a microphone, speak bullshit, and walk away.
So, again, when you ask me that question, like, what qualifies you to be the senator? This question is great because, look, being a former professional fighter, right, having the relationships that I have had, and when I look at the geography of the 5th Senate District, I can go into every neighborhood and I can knock on somebody's door that I have known for years. And I can start right in the Harrogate neighborhood, go right to the Port Richmond neighborhood, Bridesburg, Tacony, Wissinoming, Mayfair, Somerton, Bustleton, Parkwood, Winchester Park, all of them. And having people that have their ear to the ground, having people that understand what's going on in their communities because they're civically engaged, I think is very key. So I can't go into your neighborhood and know what's happening and know what your problems are if I'm not there every day, if I don't live there, if I'm not part of the community. So really having my staff have the makeup of that whole district where people know they can come in and talk to somebody, where the person is a part of their community, that understands, that has empathy. So I think that's key, having the staff really reflect the community, not giving jobs out because you can give a job out, really making it based on effectiveness, results, and merit. And, one of the best things that I have going for me right now is I'm being basically mentored by Martina White. She is the only Republican elected official that we have in Harrisburg representing Philadelphia, and she does such a great job with her district. It's amazing. Going door knocking with her is like going door knocking with like just a famous person. People love her because she has her, finger to the pulse. She has community members in her staff that are able to help people, that are able to talk to people, and they know the composition of every neighborhood because, look, Philadelphia has a large elderly population too, where they're not going to be able to drive to your office and tell you their problems. They need help, though. So really understanding the neighborhoods, having the people there, and talking to people like you where I'm not a professional or an expert at marketing and getting myself out there like how you would know it. So finding people like yourself that could be like, hey, this is what you need to have as a presence on social media. So knowing that I don't know, I think is very important. Being a beginner excites me because I'm so open to new ideas and I haven't been conditioned to think one way or the other. But really, having the right people on my team.
Well, thank you for being on the Den. I do hope you win. You seem a very nice guy. You seem like you aren't a politician. And I do believe we need more non-politicians around us. I do. I'm a true believer. I don't think we should have people that are in office for 20 years, 15 years, 30. I think it's actually terrible for the system,
Agreed.
Terrible for a lot of things. So I wish you the best. Thank you for being on the Den. Check them out. I want to make sure I say your name right again. Sam Orpeza, correct? Orpeza. Don't want to disrespect you in any way. Good luck, and Northeast Philadelphia could use someone like you.
Thank you.